Tonight on Road to Redline, it's all about you, our listener. We've got a great selection of Q&As pulled from our Instagram feed. These include the new Boxster Anniversary 25 versus Spyder, a choice of Porsche jobs, modifications or not, post-COVID road trips and events, top 10 biscuits, of course, are new cars too fast, and what might be our next personal Porsche purchases. This week's podcast is brought to you by 2911, theporschebuyer.com, and Ashgood's Classic and Sports Cars. Good evening, chaps. It's three of us back in the room tonight.
It is indeed. How are you both doing?
Just the three of us. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
So,
yeah, good.
Andy, you've clearly spent the last week murdering songs by the sounds of it, because
yeah. There's not much else to do, is there?
It's not.
No.
Hope, never coming to a karaoke party at your house.
Hope everybody at home is doing okay despite the lockdown that we all kind of find ourselves in, particularly in this country, in the United Kingdom, but also elsewhere. As you said, Joe, at the top of the chat, it's just us this week, and we've got some questions from listeners.
Yeah, we've got some really good ones, actually.
Yeah, we put out an Instagram post and got, I think, nearly 30 questions from everybody. So thank you very much for those. Really appreciated. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit all of those tonight.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's more than we were kind of hoping for, or no, banking on is probably a better way to put it. So what we have decided is we'll go through some of them tonight, and then essentially form a part two later on in the series where we'll go through them, because there are some cracking questions in there, which we just feel, duty bound to answer, particularly from our Patreons.
And there's some big questions in there as well, not just ones that could actually make a whole episode. So definitely need to bank those.
Yeah, I think we said we might reach out to a couple of experts in their field that might be more qualified to give a sort of a textbook answer. So we might get try and pull them onto the pod somehow. I think that could be a plan.
Yeah. Good. Talking to Patrons, can we do a quick rundown of new Patrons?
Oh, yes, please.
So we've got 5 new Patrons. Sponsoring us a coffee is Andy Gregory, who I believe works for VW Heritage. Is that
does
correct?
Indeed, yes.
He's got a 944. Leon Jones, who has a 9964S and a Yaris GR.
Oh, amazing.
Obviously, Joe's
quality.
Then we got the Beer Boys. We've got Simon Norman, who's down in Devon. He's got a 993. And I believe Simon bought some luggage from me. When I first bought my car, it came with a load of fitted luggage and I didn't have any need for it. I'm sure it was him that bought it. Ian Harris in Sussex.
Very good. He's another GR owner.
He is, yeah. God, there's a few about, isn't there?
This is going to turn into a GR podcast. This
it is, yeah. Well, we welcome the Toyota lot, because if we all start supporting Toyota, we've all got a chance of winning Le Mans again, haven't we? So,
and then lastly is Edward Gerard. I'm afraid I don't know anything about Edward. I tried to find you on Instagram but couldn't. But thank you for your beer a month.
Excellent. Yes, thank you. Thank you to all our patrons. Appreciate it as always. We will
should we just say about Patreon while we're there? Remembering last week, we've got this amazing giveaway of a Roof Nezumi Studios watch. If you become a Patreon within the next few weeks, you get an automatic entry into that competition to win a watch.
You can have a double entry, can't you? So you can have a two shot at it.
Double dip.
Easy.
We need to just finalise the finer details on that competition, don't we? But it'll be out via our own Instagram page and also the Nezumi Studios Instagram page, named as so. And it's a limited edition, a numbered timepiece. Only 200 being made, and one of our Road to Redline listeners gets to win one, which is awesome. Yeah, shall we move on to these questions then? I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, let's do it. Shall I hit the first one? I've got a little sound recording with this one. So I'll play it so we can listen to it.
Hey guys, appreciate the Q&A and a good fan of the show. My name is Frank. I'm from USA, the state of Tennessee, near the tail of the dragon. I think you might have experienced it. Anyways, I have an allocation number one on the list for the Boxster 25. And for the same money, the Boxster Spyder is in play. I wonder what your thoughts are. This would be for a non-track day car. I think that 25 is lovely, but the Spyder is too. Running around town, though, that ease of the top sounds pretty good. I do enjoy suspension of GT cars, so haven't driven either one. Like to hear your opinion. Thank you.
Excellent question. It has to be said. Excellent question.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what do we reckon?
Well, we're just having a look before, actually, weren't we? Ironically, about the Boxster 25. It throws up quite an interesting subtext with regards to the anniversary cars anyway, particularly with reference to 911, doesn't it? And I think there was a bit of a split in the room as to how special we feel they are. Is that right? I mean, I personally love them.
I think they're nice to have. And they're, from a collectible point of view, to a degree, if that's your thing. But if you're looking at something that's a driver's car, then I think there's, for the same money, you could have more interesting metal. That'd be my take on it.
It's got the 4 litre, isn't it?
Is this the Boxster?
The 25, the Boxster. Yeah. Well, they've both got the same engine then.
Yeah.
The Boxster 25 has got the crappiest wheels I've seen in a long while. They look like they've just come off of some Honda.
Yeah, they're proper JDM.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking, Porsche, with that, because it's just like, what are those?
Do you reckon there's any chance that in a few years' time we'll all be lusting after those when they start going through the rest of the range? Or is that just never going to happen?
What, the shit wheels?
Yeah. Some things come back round, don't they?
Yeah,
they grow on you. I just can't imagine those growing on anybody.
There was another question actually. That was somebody was who was it? I was thinking it was Tom Montgomery, who's one of our patrons, and he was saying because of the 25th anniversary, that being celebrated, what do we think to the maligned 986? Is it actually as bad as we all thought it was, or are we sort of coming around to it?
Well, I think that's a question we need to answer separately, without a doubt, because again, I think we could get lost with that. That's again another cracking question that I'm sure we'll get some good debate from the three of us. With the 25, I mean, I'm just looking at it.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I mean, for me, it'd be a Spyder all day long. I just don't. I'm just not there with it. I don't like the look of it particularly. I think it's a bit. I don't know. There's a few goldy bits and a dodgy set of wheels. A detuned 4 litre that you get more horses on the Spyder.
Oh, do you?
Some sort of I think you get a better setup of the Spyder. They're definitely more special. I think. You're not going to.
The top looks great.
Oh yeah, I mean, a Boxster's just going to be another Boxster. Yes, it's got some whizzy bits on it, and a handful of people are going to go, "Oh, that's one of 1,250 ever made." No one's particularly going to care. As I think when you see a Spyder, you're like, "No, that's a really good-looking car." I'd go Spyder all day long. I think it'll look after you better long term. Personally, I think it will anyway.
I was thinking of me being in the car going up the tail of the dragon, and the Spyder would be the one every day. Because it's not pissing with rain there, is it? So you're not top off and on and off all the time. It's not in the UK. Yeah, Spyder.
It's a special car, and I think I'm also in the Spyder camp there, and I just think if you say to someone Boxster Spyder, any Porsche enthusiast, that you've captured their attention and imaginations with that. I always worry and to some degree cringe a little bit when Porsche brings out these sort of special edition cars, because especially lately there's a real propensity to just kind of tart them up with trinkets, just tart up an otherwise standard car. So
I don't think they've gone far enough with it. I think they could, they could have gone all out and done a real, something really out there
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like the Anniversary 911s, like I say, I'm a big fan of them, and I think they are genuinely quite special. Not only are they, yes, limited edition, the later ones actually been numbered, but there's a real good tantalizing, spec to them, or mouth-watering spec. We go, yeah, there's clear thought gone into that. The 50th anniversary car from 2013, for example, the houndstooth seat centers, the green dials, it all kind of relates and feeds directly into the early cars. And I get that we can't do that with a Boxster because it's only 25 years old, and they have done the same sort of badge styling as the 50th anniversary, incidentally, on the back, looking at it. But I agree with you, Joe. I don't feel like they've kind of gone far enough, and
they could have captured the imagination a bit better, I think.
I think so. It's better than what I was thinking. And when I got I got press release through a couple of days ago, Boxster 25 years announced to celebrate quarter of a century of the Boxster, and you just think, oh no, here we go. What have exclusive done now? And but it's definitely better than I thought, but it just doesn't kind of tap into the same.
It's not a Spyder.
Yeah, that's it. And a Spyder is more special. It really is. It is. Its engine is a kick on even from the GTS. I know this. The 25 year has a GTS engine, or the 4 litre from the GTS. But there are other little bits and pieces on the Spyder that's kind of shared with other parts of the Porsche family higher up, if you like. And again, I feel as a driver's car, that's a bit more special.
I think the Spyder's running on, it's GT4, sort of lineage, isn't it? And running gear and whatnot. And I think you've, and I'm not, by no means is it a GT car in the same way we talk about other GT cars, but I think it's as close as you're going to get for a drop top GT car, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it just comes down to really, and this is to go back to the question, is you have to look, like with any Porsche purchase, you have to look at your lifestyle and do you want a proper driver's car, which I think the Boxster the Spyder ticks that box, or do you just want something that's kind of cool to boast about to your mates down the pub? Well, they only made 1,250 of these, and this one's number 7 or something. They've
got really nasty blingy wheels.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with either scenario, is there? Really?
No. I think the Boxster, like you said, you'd have to almost justify it. It's one of those cars you'd have to be, I bought a new Boxster, and then you're gonna have to go into a spiel about why it's a good Boxster over just another one.
It's heinously expensive as well.
Yeah. I was 75 grand in the UK. I think it's $90,000 or something. It's big money, isn't it, for what it is? I think.
Yeah.
There's not going to be an overs market for it, is there? So.
Well, you could argue that maybe a GTS might be better value, because you kind of, yes, you haven't got the badges and the dodgy wheels, but you can, maybe that's the decision. Do you actually look at going, okay, I'll have a GTS and save myself a few quid, and have something that's got a GTS badge, which I think had some weight to it, or do you go the other way and go Spyder?
You can get it in 3 colours.
Oh,
really exciting! Silver, black, or white.
Okay.
I mean, that does mimic the 986s, to be fair, doesn't it? But I mean, I think, so you can save money by buying a GTS. You get the same engine, you don't get the pants wheels. And if you really want some 25 badges on the back, well, I'm sure someone on eBay will do them for you, won't they? So that's kind of every box tick there. But no,
right,
I think
we've done that one.
Spyder all round, aren't we, without doubt?
Yeah, we're done. Right, then, shall we go back to that other question that about the Boxster, the early Boxster, the 986?
Yeah.
What do we think now?
Love them.
I never thought I'd say this, but they're really growing on me. I quite fancy a really early Boxster.
I'm the same in the last few months. I always used to look at them at distaste and think that it was just not a shit.
Hairdresser's car. It was,
yeah. But I'm coming around to it. So, and I think
I quite fancy a red one. I think an early guards red Boxster.
You'd look good in that, Jay.
Quite cool.
Very hairdresser.
I think any of them. I think the fried eggs movement is real, people.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
But I've seen a couple in the past sort of 3 months or so going for great money. There was definitely there was one at Paragon for £12,000. I think there was another. I think the Paragon one was a Tiptronic as well. There was another manual 986 silver, OK spec. I think 60k miles, up again for £12,000. I mean, these cars, not those exact cars, but the model generally. I mean, they were trading at sort of $5,000 or $6,000 not too long ago at all.
Sub that. I think the early stuff was down to like $2,000 to $3,000 at one point. It was you couldn't give it away, so it's definitely come back around quickly.
It's awesome.
It's like there's always a model at the bottom of the tree, isn't there? There's always the 964 that was at the bottom of the tree for a while back in the early 2000s. Yeah. And basically when those models are at the bottom of the tree, you get they all get, there's lots that get misused and abused and drag everything else down. Yeah. They then get scrapped or wherever they go, and you're left with good cars that then the whole market for those then rises because there's more good cars than there are crap cars.
I think they become more accessible, don't they? They just hit a price point where you've got more people that are in a position to be able to buy one. So naturally that then brings back around some momentum back into the market and push them back up again. So I think that's what's going on with these. I think all the crap stuff's disappeared, and then people that now want one are suddenly realising they've got to they're kind of holding out. So.
Yeah, same in 996s, and they're lots of cars get modified. Subtle modifications maybe that it's different wheels, lowered suspension. The overall look of the cars are improved rather than it being a car that's sort of dumped on the side of the road with brake encrusted wheels and rusty discs. They disappear, so the whole thing gets moved up, and I think that's happening with the 986 and the 996.
How far does your fried eggs event stretch to, Lee? Is it 911 fried eggs, or is it just fried eggs?
It is 996 only, but we have had a couple of 986 Boxsters sneak in, and we will, provided we can get back to a normal world in future, we will do a fried eggs and friends, which is where everybody can come along. But I just think it's kind of indicative of the era. People like these cars. The 986 was the same as the 996, and being the last kind of Porsche cars before this nannying technology or other stuff like PASM and the sport mode and things like that kind of came into it. It really is a steering wheel and 3 pedals, and that's exactly what enthusiasts are after, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're coming round then.
We're coming
round to the 986.
Generally. We love them. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Keep your 25th anniversary edition, and give me an early 986, I think.
Oh, definitely. Maybe we should look to get we should all chip in and get a Road to Redline Boxster and just have it as a little project car. That'd be hilarious.
That's an interesting idea. Need a few more Patreons, so if anyone's on the fence again.
Right, should we go on to the next question?
Hell Indeed. Yeah.
Salut les gars, I'm Thierry Nardon from south of France, 37 years old. So here is my question. Which Porsche resto mod would you like to see in the future? Of course, 911 excluded. Thanks.
So did you get that? That was quite a deep South French accent.
Yeah, awesome. I don't know if I probably shouldn't go first on this because it's a little bit kind of blasé, but my attitude is I want to see all of them. Who needs to limit it? I'd love to see an early Boxster. I'd love to see someone do something crazy with a Cayenne, because those early ones, we were talking about the 986. The first Cayennes are so cheap now.
I love seeing those jacked up.
100%. Let's see them all. You guys were talking about a 914 that had been done recently.
Yeah,
or done the rounds.
I'm just looking it up. It's 1511 design. It's called, and it's 914. That's got I think it's got Cayman underpinning. So Cayman engine and gearbox. Yeah, Cayman S mechanicals. So looking at around 300 horsepower, sort of the bubbly wings on it.
What was that? Sorry, 1511 design.
1511 design. If you put in 914 Resto Mod into Google, and you'll find there's an autocar.
Saw some pictures of it doing the rounds a little while ago.
Yeah,
I do remember it.
It's got a clear top. What's the Targa top? So it's a clear Targa top. And they've done some other stuff, this particular company. Now, what have they done? I can't find it. But it looks really promising. Oh, they've done some previous classic creations, including a one-off Mark I Ford Escort Speedster and a fully restored 1962 Maserati. Okay. Both in this sort of, the Resto Mod type thing. But yeah, go check that out. Put in, I've forgotten what it was called, 1511 design. So yeah, that looks really cool. But yeah, I agree with Lee. I think everything deserves it. Go for it.
I quite like a 356 that's kind of in that sort of outlaw-y Resto Mod kind of style.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of those about, isn't there?
Well, there is. Yeah, I think there's not enough, but I'm not. Yeah, I like the 356. I'm not a great fan in terms of I feel like I'd like to own one myself. But yeah, when they've been well fettled, they definitely look the part.
Yeah, agreed. How about a 924?
It'd be interesting if someone could get it to look right.
Yeah, agreed. To be honest, same with all of them. There are people out there far cleverer than I am with design and stuff. So yeah, let's see what they've got. I think absolutely any and all kind of cars like that. I think there's no rule or nobody has the privilege or the power to say no, we shouldn't do that. I think go for it. There's enough around at the end of the day. If people have been doing, how many companies have been backdating and resto modding 964s? You think, well, there's no more 964s left on planet Earth to resto mod now, but Joe managed to find one before Christmas, and so I think let's see them all without a doubt.
Cool, good. This next question, if we're ready to go on to the next one, sort of kind of related, so I'll play this. I think it's quite good, actually. Makes you think.
Hi guys, here's a dilemma for you. You've been offered 3 great jobs. Firstly, one at Porsche Motorsport. Secondly, at Singer USA. And thirdly, at Gunther Works. Which one would you choose and why?
So you've been offered a job at 3 places. Porsche Motorsport, Singer USA or Gunther Works. Which one would you go for? Oh, that's a good question. That was from Jez Murray, who's Shutty Speed 61 on Instagram. He's one of our patrons.
I think I'd be straight into straight into Porsche Motorsport. I think for me.
Yeah.
How come, Joe? Why is that?
Yeah, give us.
I reckon that's got to be the coolest place to be. I think there's things will be happening at an alarming rate. You get to see all sorts of stuff behind the scenes, and I think just the way they run some of those teams and some of those cars, I think is phenomenal. It's proper sort of open checkbook racing, isn't it? I don't think you can get any better than that. There's you're all around the world. I think that could be a really special experience. I probably wouldn't go Gunther Works because the 993 is not my bag. Selfishly, I think I enjoy being at Singer, but I think you've got to be very, very passionate about doing the same thing. I know each project is different, but essentially you're redoing the same thing over and over again, differently styled. I think, I could be completely wrong, but I think I think the novelty would wear off quicker, as I think Porsche Motorsport, I think would be the most interesting place to be. How about you guys?
Lee?
I say I would go Singer, to be honest with you, because I like the creative freedom that a company like Singer brings to the industry generally. Also, having kind of dealt with Porsche employees, everybody has to toe the company line essentially. So there's a slight kind of a slight issue with freedom of speech potentially, I would say there, and I quite like to speak my mind quite a lot. Also, being totally blunt, on the down days, the sunshine of LA is a little bit more appealing to me than industrial Stuttgart. So, what about you, Andy?
Ooh, it's a difficult one. I think I'd probably go on your side, Lee, on the Singer or Gunther Works. and probably a similar sort of. I think you make some very good points there. Obviously, with my 993 affliction,
you'd be in there, wouldn't you?
Straight into Gunther Works, surely.
But then, no, but Singer's the dream, isn't it? No, I'm going to stay on the fence, I'm afraid, with those two. I'll be over in the US, but I don't know which one. I'll do a 50-50.
A timeshare. I think Gunther Works have got some pretty good car lifts, Andy. if it sways it for your buddy old pal.
No, I'm not going to sway. I'm going to stick on the fence.
Okay.
Right, good question though. Next one, are we ready?
Indeed.
Right then, next question. This is from Paul Pressland. He couldn't be bothered to record it, so I will read it out in the voice of Paul Pressland. I don't know what, I'm not sure if I can do an impersonation, so maybe not. How far do you boys think modifications should go? Appreciate it's in a person's choice, but what is the tipping point of taste, value, law of diminishing returns? Each of you has a modified car to a greater, lesser degree. Discuss.
Good question. It has to be said. Good question.
I think on the whole, modifications are a complete waste of money. In terms of long-term value, because I think you just never get it back is the general consensus. I think there's very occasional times you might, but it's pretty rare that someone else will like your taste or your what you've done, all the rest of it. It might help sell a car, but I personally don't think it necessarily adds any value. So I think it is a personal choice to do, to go down that road. And I think you kind of want to do it to a car that you're probably going to hang on to for a while, so you get the value out of the money you spend on the car rather than trying to sort of enhance the value on a car. That'd be my take.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And I also think that's the value type of question, isn't it? What about taste? Taste, I think I'm that sort of OEM plus thing. So I always think that any mods that you do should be the average guy on the street has got no idea that you've done some modifications to it, but knows that it looks a good car, and there's something special about that, but they've got no idea what makes it special. It's not all the wings and tings and the JDM style Porsche gold bling wing wheels. It's about making it look special without the guy on the street knowing what makes it special.
I get where you're coming from with that. I think there's definitely an attraction to that. I think it's quite subtle, isn't it? And I think that, so I can see why that would appeal. I think at the same time, I don't think there is a limit. I think it's a personal choice thing. I think if you really, really want wings and things and to paint it a luminous pink, if that's what does it for you, then crack on. It's each their own.
Where I draw the line is with cars that are historically important. So they tend to be light on numbers or have like a very high value. 959s, for example, I totally appreciate what Canepa are doing, for example, in the States, and they clearly have a customer base that's very up for modernising or resto modding, I suppose, isn't it? A 959. Go slightly against what I said earlier, but I just think you have to be careful with cars like that. Again, I
think it's quite sad what they're doing, because every one they do is one less on the road.
Exactly that. And with other cars that are numbered, 964 anniversaries, don't touch them. They're historically important car. It's a reference for the era, for the generation. Same with, the 996 and the 991, etc. I think there are certain cars that are special enough. I think if you can afford to, or have the gall to be able to do something like that to a car of that caliber, then you can afford to do it to another car that's kind of, if you're going to start pulling a car like that to pieces, well, it's not the car for you anyway.
Well, you've missed the point, haven't you? You've bought whatever car you've bought in the first place. You haven't appreciated what you've got, which is a bit ridiculous. So I think most modified cars, are the mass-produced stuff, aren't they? Because that's or most people that go down that road, don't necessarily do it to limited numbers. I know there's the few that do. But I get what you're saying. Definitely anything like that should be it's a little bit sacrilege, isn't it? I
think so. I think as an enthusiast, you have a part to play in the car's kind of history and tapestry, and I don't see that that should be interfered with. So that's where I kind of draw the line a little bit. But at the same time, I appreciate that at the end of the day, it's their car. They're entitled to do what they want with it, and that's kind of fine. And a modification is good. Like you say, you don't do it to get the money back. You do it as a passion project, and that's fine.
Yeah. I think it's quality as well is the important bit, because obviously, Porsche sets the bar quite high out the box. So I think, you need to be elevating that to make it worthwhile, the time, the spend, and whatever else. So I think that's the thing. It's improving on what you've got as opposed to just fettling with it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We done?
Yeah. Good question.
Good question. Next question. I shall play it for you. This is from Carving Corners. Oliver, or can't pronounce it. Oliver from Canada.
Hey guys, it's Oliver. How's it going, Lee, Andy, and Joe? There's just so much that Porsche has to offer in the motorsport industry. Everything ranging from classic 911s that are air-cooled right up until 992s that you can buy today. There really is a Porsche for every occasion. So let's narrow it down a bit more than that. Let's get a bit more specific than that. For each one of you guys, what would be the one go-to Porsche spec the way that you individually would like it spec'd? Now, this can range everything from old classic right up until current. So anything Porsche goes. Now, this is going to be a car that can do everything from being daily driven to doing track days to doing road trips. Really a car that can do it all. And there's going to be compromises for sure. So let's hear, what is the one to have? Anything Porsche goes.
Oh, see, I love questions like this because it's proper pub chat. I love it. I'm going to dive straight in with this because this is an easy one for me. I'm going to go straight in with the 991R. And the reason for that is it's a sublime car on the road, completely worthy of a road trip. No problem whatsoever jumping in that and driving all around Europe. It's capable on the track if you've got the steel balls in which to do it, I think, especially on faster circuits, because that'd be a bit of a handful. But then also it's quite subtle as well. It's not got big wings and stuff. So if you want a trip to the cinema, it can kind of go a little bit, fly under the radar, a little bit undetected. That is just the ultimate do-it-all 911 for me. In terms of spec, I would absolutely want the single mass flywheel. Otherwise, I'd have the Bose speakers and PCM as well, of course, because some people delete those. Other than that, don't mind. I don't mind what colour, other than the white with red stripes. That doesn't do it for me. Otherwise, I don't care. But I think that the R is the one for me, without a doubt.
See, I love an R, and I think, but it'd have to have brown leather and houndstooth. Yeah, has to. I think that's just the making of the R. I think that interior is just is spot on.
So that would be your car as well then, Joe?
Well, I was going to say touring was first what came to mind. I'd touring and probably retrofit some back seats, because I think then that would make it a family vehicle. The R didn't cross my mind. I mean, they're are they similar cars? An R is a lot more special. I think out of the two, I'd have an R. Now you mention it, but yeah, in terms of recent current, if that's what we're going down in terms of speccing a new car, then I think touring was kind of the way I was leaning. What about you, Andy?
It would be a Singer for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Would it be it'd be a Singer classic?
But that's the trouble, isn't it? The split really is. I mean, really, you need two. You need something modern and something classic. It's
no. The question is,
I know. Can't stray from the question. Yeah,
you can't stray from it. One only.
This is what's.
And I'd compromise on that, because I don't need that speed that the R's got.
Yeah,
that's the thing for me.
Yeah,
don't need that.
This is what's great about the 911, isn't it? And Porsches generally, to be honest, it's touted as like the one sports car that does it all. But there's so many people that end up having more than one out of what they tell themselves is necessity. I love it. I absolutely love it. But there is a 911 for every occasion. And I think, if you have one that's good at something, there will be compromises. It's just about choosing what you're happy to compromise on, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It is. It's the compromise, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't work out. Yeah. Would I compromise something classic for something new? Don't know. Yeah.
Joe could be changing his mind.
Well, I mean, I'd quite happily daily a classic car. Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think it's just that thing of, if you want to do some long European road trips, for example, do you want a few more mod cons? If you're going to go to the track, again, you might want something a bit more current, only because it does a lot more out the box. Yeah, I think. No, it's difficult. I think that is, for me, that is really difficult. I'd like two if I'm allowed to.
So what exterior colour would you go for, Jay?
Ooh,
you got brown and houndstooth inside.
Well, if you go, I think if you're going, well, I mean, at the moment I'm into green. I think green's the colour of the moment, isn't it? So I think you could do. I quite like the sort of pastel-y greens, which is
go olive green.
Yeah, you go olive.
Ooh,
I really like that. I keep seeing that golden green. I really like that. I'm quite a fan. So yeah, you could do that. I think you can't go too far wrong. I mean, obviously, that Irish green's not a bad colour, I suppose. I mean, something like that would make a great, whether it's an R or a touring. I think it would work on either, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fantastic question.
I like the double roof bubble on an R. That's one of those little subtle things that I think most people don't see it until someone points it out, and then when you see it, you kind of go, okay, now that's where that line comes from. And it's a
little bit of extra headroom for your ego, Joe, so just pop in there. So
well, that quiff that he's running tonight, look at it.
Yeah, exactly that. Yes, with a quiff, without doubt.
I was about to say, I didn't pick the R, so it's not room for my ego, is it? Right.
Excellent, great question. That, like I say, good old pub style question. Love it.
Yeah. Right then, next one. Nigel Warner, also known as Pegwan on Instagram.
Hi, my name's Nigel Warner. My question is, in a hypothetical situation, the virus is continuing, but the government allows you to attend one car event or do one road trip this year. What do you choose? Thanks.
Road trip.
Yeah, but which one? What would you do?
1,000%. I would jump in a car and I would head straight for Norway, without a doubt. I'd go straight to the top and then I'd come all the way back down again. I wouldn't mind if I was on my own, not a care in the world. I would just make sure I would go immediately before Boris can change his mind.
Well, I think we should make it a reality. And I think in September we should go to that Too Cool to Cruise in Denmark.
Yeah, it does sound good, and I'm real tempted by that.
Yeah, it's not Norway, but it's on the way to Norway, so that could be possible. Yeah, exactly.
Gets us halfway there, so you got a bit of something interesting, and then you could go on, like you said, you could do a few days on from that as well.
That's a great shout. We'll do that then, shall we? Andy, you up for it?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
If we can do it, I think we should definitely do that. I've got the details here. So for anybody that fancies joining us on a Road to Redline mini cruise event tour, it's the September the 16th to the 19th, and it is going all the way to Denmark.
Yep, and it's a members only event. So when we get there, we'll just turn around and we'll come back again. Quality.
There's another interesting question that I can just jump in here with. And this was from Walter, Retro Classica, who's on Instagram, and he said, "You have a European road trip planned, 2,000 miles, 5 days. Which 3 people do you take with you, and why?" That was quite an interesting one. We could quite easily just say, "Well, yeah, I'm going to take you."
Assuming we take each other, so that means between the 3 of us, we've got to pick one extra person.
Yeah.
Lee's clearly not going to take us two, is he?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I don't think I'd take you two either.
Yeah. Where just to go back to that last question, where would you boys go? Because you said road trip, didn't you? Either was it a track day or Cars and Coffee? I can't remember.
No, it was saying which particular event would you go to? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Is there a particular road trip or a particular event that you would go to?
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the Swiss Alps, because I think, remember a few years ago we headed over that way, Lee, and it was like, I think the Swiss Alps was incredible. I mean, that was just, it blew away everything else we saw and everything else we drove. So I'd love to go back there. I think that'd be high up on the list.
And Andy?
I really enjoyed Luft GB as in an event.
Yeah.
And I had it all booked up to go to it last year in the US.
Yeah.
hotel booked, flights booked, but obviously something happened and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still wishing for a visit to that as an event. So that would be the event that I would go to.
Right.
But I would like a road trip as well, obviously.
Yeah,
over to Europe. I'd like to go down to Slovenia. So mate has bought, a couple of mates actually have bought houses just in Slovenia, which is just near the border of Italy. And that's just, we went down there last year and it was just magical. And to actually drive around that bit would be amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, head down there.
Awesome, absolutely awesome. And Joe, go on then. So who are your running mates in this trip? And what are we saying? Are we saying it's people to just do the trip with, or is it like two other friends with cars?
Let's say it's so you've got to take you're in a car and you've got 4 seats and you can take 3 other people. They can be people
so you got to sit in the same car as them.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm modifying Walter's sort of question a little bit. So yeah, let's say it's a 4-seater car. You've got to take 3 other people with you. Who would you take? And it doesn't have to be your mates. It doesn't have to be somebody that's alive. It could be anybody. Oh, Jesus, what have we made this question into?
Something deep, isn't it?
Yeah. Jeez. I think let's come back to this another day. I think we should give this some thought. What do you think?
I'm quite happy to dive in, to be honest with you.
You're there.
Yeah, I would.
Go on. He's on
it. I would.
Then.
So in like my fancy road trip, like there's kind of 2 prongs.
You've been thinking about this before.
No, just to be honest, it just popped into my head, and I think this is absolutely the one. So like fancy road trips, say don't care where we go, to be fair.
Yeah.
So 2 other drivers, I would take Steve McQueen, because it would be amazing, I think, to see Mr. McQueen's driving in action. Obviously, we can't do that anymore, but that would have been absolutely awesome to see that. And then the stories as well over dinner, I just think would be absolutely fantastic. And then to counter that and maybe keep Steve in check every now and then, I'd love to take Vic Elford, because just such an unbelievable bloke, a top gent, been there, done it, won everything other than Le Mans, although he came very close in 69. It's just, phenomenal driver. You'd learn so much from him, wouldn't you? So I just think if you're, in the company of those 2 over an amazing road trip, say to the top of Norway and back, I can't see that it'd get any better than that. I really can't.
And you were allowed 1 other person as well. So there's 4 seats in your car.
Okay. So modify it slightly and to just take someone with, I'd just take maybe 1 person. I'd love to take my old man on a road trip somewhere. We were going to do it a couple of years ago. It didn't quite happen, but I think it'd be wicked. So, my dad drives a van, has driven a van his whole life, tells everyone he drives 90 everywhere, but that's kilometers an hour. He's strict to 56 miles an hour. And, I think it'd just be wicked to take the car and shoot off somewhere. So it will happen, I'm sure. But what about you boys anyway? So that's given you both enough time to think about that now.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Go on, Joe, you go for it.
Oh, you got no chance. My retention of names of famous people is like 0. I'd have to research it.
Well, it doesn't have to be famous.
Even non-famous people, I struggle to remember their names as well.
Who are you?
Joe's frantically going through his phone book here. Who do I know?
I think if you filled a car with any sort of late 60s, early 70s, F1 drivers from that sort of Playboy era, I think you could have an absolute hoot, couldn't you? That could make quite an interesting time of it.
Yeah. I'd like to take 2 mates who one is my best man Pete, because he always cracks me up, and Delby, mate Delby, that always cracks me up, and then somebody famous and interesting. But I wouldn't go all out famous people. Just have one token famous person.
I think you should take Chris Evans, and every little town you call into in Europe, you can ask people to point out who the real Chris Evans is. It could be identity parade on bus
I'll take Chris Harris.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. That'd be good. That'd be good crack. That would. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's it. I'm done.
Excellent. Great question. What we got next? These are good.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Oh. Let me just get my thing up. Here we go. Right. Here we go. Paul Lowen put a little question in.
Hi guys, PVDL here. Just a quick question for Road to Redline. What's your biscuit top 10? I hope you're all well, and I hope to see you all soon. Take care.
I don't know if I know 10 biscuits. Do you?
I do.
he's sitting there munching on after eights. He's the connoisseur.
He can't think who he'd take away on a road trip, but he knows his fucking top 10 biscuits. That's brilliant. Go on then, Joe. Hit it. Thanks for the question, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, everyone knows you need a good dunking biscuit, so that's got to be a hobnob of some description, surely. You boys in with that?
I mean, I'm a journalist. I don't supply the biscuits. I eat the biscuits. And that's about it, really. So, yeah, I mean, the majority, when we're allowed out, the majority of the podcasts seem to be recorded at yours, Joe. So, I mean, you know, whatever spread you're putting on the table when we walk in is kind of what we go for, isn't it, really? So,
well, okay, quick rundown biscuits. What biscuit? Come on, Andy, you can join in with this. I reckon hobnobs, solid, digestives. Love a bourbon.
Those shite digestives. Crap.
Really?
Yeah. Boring.
Controversial already, look.
Particularly those caramel ones, the sticky caramel bit in the middle.
Yeah, well, Lee brought those once.
They're
and
rubbish.
He was almost banned for that. So, yeah. Never again. We
are partial to a biscuit on Road to Redline. I would think it's fair to say that we're not fussy.
Fueled by biscuit. And I think this is why the question comes up, because when Paul came along for the episode that he was in, didn't we have 4 packets of biscuits or something on the table?
I think we did.
So I think he thinks we've got a bit of an obsession about biscuits, which is probably quite right. Oh, really?
Yeah, quality.
Okay.
Next question. Let's do it.
Yeah, next question. Okay. This is from Mike Heritage, another patron.
Hi guys, Mike Heritage here from North Wales. My question is based on your quick fire questions, really, on the cars and coffee or track day. So I've done track days on motorbikes before, but I'm new to Porsche. I have a 996 turbo. My question is, should I track it? If I do, is there anything I need to do to it? Not done one in cars before, so I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts. Is it something that's worthwhile doing, or will I break it? Cheers. Bye.
Nice. I'm very happy to dive in here, if you don't mind.
Go on. Yeah, dive on in.
I think the answer is resoundingly yes, definitely do track it. I think all Porsche are designed to drive to a track, drive around it, and drive home again. Incredibly robust vehicles. 996 turbo, in terms of that, it's a 4-wheel drive, so I would advise a Geo just to dial out a little bit of that understeer. Otherwise, the most important thing you can do for prep before you go anywhere near a track is to make sure you've got good tyres and good brakes, because they're the things you need the most. Mm-hmm. Other than that, crack on. Good luck. You'll love it, especially the 996 turbo, Metzger engine, incredibly robust. You will love it. So definitely do it, Mike, without a doubt.
I'd only add to that, I think key for someone new going into track days is just take it really easy. I think, just start slow. Don't worry about other people going past you, and just build up your speed through the day. If you go out and try and be a hero from, in the morning sessions, then you can easily come unstuck. So I think just go out, take your time, learn the lines, learn the track. It all comes together, and you'll be amazed how much better you'll be from, the 9 o'clock first out compared to an after lunch afternoon session. Improvement is incredible. So I just, take it really easy and just learn slowly. I think it's one of those things that it comes, and anyone who's got a Porsche badge has already got the right tools for the job.
Quality.
I think I can add anything there.
I tell you what, boys, that is a cracking subject for a podcast episode. Maybe we should look at that for later in the series, because we've all done track days, and I mean, there's some cracking stories as well that seem to come out of track day. So it might be worth revisiting that later on.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we next question it?
Yeah.
Right. This is a question from Bliss Yar on Instagram. He is buying his first Porsche. Looking at 996, 997 or Cayman. Should he chance it with a private sale or a dealer? I've got quite strong opinions on this.
Go on then, Andy, jump in. Let's hear it.
I pretty much always buy my cars privately. Reason being is I normally buy them outright. I'm not one for financing. So, and I like to see where a car comes from. So I like to actually speak to the owner, find out where he lives, where it's lived its life, and actually sort of get some history on the car and understand the car and feel confident that it's not just something that a dealer has sort of tarted up. What do you think? I think you need a bit of mechanical nous to do that.
You do, and I think that's where you can get away with it, Andy, because you can't pull the wool over your eyes mechanically with a car, which is credit to you. I'm the other way on that. I wouldn't buy a car like that or anything of high value. I wouldn't turn up on someone's drive and do it. I have done it once, which is why I'm saying not to. So of the three Porsches I've bought, one has been from a reputable dealer, one has been privately, and one has been from a run-of-the-mill sort of dealer that sells anything. And I think by far the most rewarding and most sensible option was to go with the dealer. Everything's in check. So
this is the Porsche specialist.
A Porsche specialist, reputable Porsche specialist. And the cars are a little bit more compared to privately, don't get me wrong. It is a bit harder to haggle, but the power's in your hands, I think. With buying privately, I think there are so many kind of time wasters. I mean, my example in particular, we'd agreed a deal. He then didn't call me back. I'd chased the guy for a couple of days. And when I eventually got hold to him, he admitted he was still trying to look for a better offer. And it's sort of so much cloak and dagger. I think if you go again with a reputable dealer, and I really stress that, I think things are far more easy. They're trading on a reputation. They're hard to come by, incredibly quickly to lose. And they know that as much as anybody else. You can just get on with the business of getting the right car for you personally.
Joe, what's your...
I think I'd foot in both camps, to be honest. I think if you're new to the brand, new to the cars, and don't know a huge amount about individual models, then I think the safety of going to a dealer where you've got some comeback and some warranty and all those sorts of nice things, I think is worth its weight in gold. I think once you know what you're looking at, then you've got more options. I think the only caveat to that, I think, is on newer cars or cars that are still holding a credible warranty, whether that's a third party or original warranty that is you can stand on. Then I wouldn't have an issue buying a car privately if it was warranted. I mean, I'd buy a car that's not warranted. I think the best money you can spend if you're thinking about going privately or even to a non-Porsche specific dealer, even a Porsche Indy as well. For a couple £100 you can get the old 111 point check done at a Porsche main dealer. I mean, that will tell you everything warts and all, and they will go through the fine tooth comb. It will read really badly, but on every single car you take them, because that's the job. But that will give you a position of the car's current standing, of which you can then either go back and haggle with, or you can go back and go, no, I don't want it because it's a bag of spanners or whatever. So I think I would just get it checked out. I think the best money you can spend, Porsches are expensive when they go wrong, or they certainly can be. So £200 or £300 on a proper purchase inspection is worth its weight in gold. I think I wouldn't skimp on that. Whether you're buying a 10 grand Porsche or a 50, 100 grand Porsche, I'll get that done.
Cool. Yeah, sound advice. And another good question there.
Yeah. Okay, right. Next question is from DK911. Car storage. Does anyone keep their cars on the drive in all weathers or never? Mine stays in the garage. Very lucky to have a garage. It does go out in the wet, but part of my insurance is it has to stay in the garage. So mine stays in the garage.
Most of mine, other than the 912, have always lived outside. Actually, I've kind of always taken that opinion of just not use it and abuse it, but to get your money's worth. I think the more you use it, the cheaper it gets. Is always my philosophy. So I keep it out and ready to go.
Tidy. Same with me. It's the 996 is out in all weathers. I don't own a garage. I would love a garage, but I think again that just comes down to if you want to tinker in all weathers, and also you can always tell when a car's garage because it tends to be cleaner. when it's on the road, didn't it? You just tell. And I'd quite like to kind of, maybe shelter the car sometimes just to stop it getting caked all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm totally happy with leaving the car outside. It's a car at the end of the day, isn't it? Not a human being with feelings ready to be damaged.
I think that's a choice, isn't it? I think if you've got an easy garage setup, then I think the preference would always be garaging, wouldn't it? But I think they're most of them are absolutely fine to be left out, aren't they?
Yeah. I know storage, like winter storage, is a popular thing. My own personal car is totally the wrong car for that, but I think it's a good idea if you've got like multiple cars, and obviously if some are quite valuable, there's probably no point in getting a car out on a blustery November day, is there, or a cold January? You've always got more to lose than gain in that scenario. So I think storage is a good idea. Some businesses make great money out of it, don't they? It has to be said, but it's a good place to put the car sometimes if it's the right car for it,
Okay, question done. I think we should just do a couple more questions and save some more for another episode, because we're cracking on time. If you're both good with that.
Yeah.
Toby Dyer, another Patreon. Oh, we've got quite a few, haven't we? Are new cars getting too fast and powerful? What does this mean for fun and enjoyment? What does this mean for the future for manufacturers like Porsche? I think
yes, 110%. I think they're too fast. It becomes unusable, doesn't it? I think that's what we keep talking about. And sometimes the most interesting new models end up being the basic ones, because you can drive them, slightly more than the other ones. But even a basic Carrera 992, is it 350 brake out the box?
It's too fast, isn't it? Really?
370, yes.
370.
Madness,
it's like, it's unusable in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Did you see that the 904? It's like a development car. Do you remember there was a thing Porsche put out the last few weeks, which was showing all of their sort of not pre-production but development cars that had been kept locked away.
Concept
cars. That's the one I'm looking for. Yeah. And there was the 904, which was I think it had a Ducati twin-cylinder engine in it, of all things. But you're talking a couple of 100 horsepower. It was really light, really small. I'd love to see something like that.
It was super cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a modern day smart roadster. If Porsche were to hit that market, I think that'd be really interesting.
I'd still love to see a 300 horsepower, proper lightweight, slim down 911.
A club sport.
Yeah, exactly 100%. That. And even to the extreme, if they can actually keep the cost down on it to make it really accessible. So it was a proper driver's car, not a limited numbers special edition thing that became a bit. I mean, they loosely went there with the Carrera T, didn't they? But it was kind of a bit of a halfway house. I think the T's a great car, but I think they could have gone so much further with that concept.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'd like to see. I think 300 brake, I reckon, is a sweet spot for UK roads. I think that's plenty to have fun with, and more than enough.
Okay, right then. I think we should do final question. I think that kind of ties in with that last one in some way. This is from the Ed Lawrence, and his question is: what Porsche would you buy next? So I'm thinking that what each of us, if this dream little Porsche car was to turn up, and it's accessible. So I guess my one would be if it was a 964 in Murano green was to turn up just round the corner, and it was sort of 50-60k. That's what my next Porsche would be. Sort of accessible, and that's what I kind of really fancy. What's your next fancy?
Okay, interesting. Well, it's slightly boring, I think, actually. But I'm just thinking with my own, and this, obviously this is not fantasy stuff now. If not, I'll go out and buy a load of lottery tickets and wait for the 911R to turn up. But I think where Little Irish is going as a project, it's kind of inevitable that it won't be as usable on the road all the time. And, everybody's interpretation of fast road is very different. And actually, if you drive fast road cars, you tend to realize, actually, this is really compromised, and this is just a track car or a Sunday car or whatever. Not entirely practical for runs to the shops or going out with a wife, etc., chucking the dog in the back. So I quite like the idea of a 991 Gen 1 C4S cab with PDK as just a lovely little poodle around boulevard cruiser, or if I need to drive somewhere for work, jump in that, nice and comfortable, modern enough, good miles to the gallon. I think that'll do me fine. I would love to do that. And again, with such as flexible as finances these days, I think actually a car like that is a lot more attainable than you might imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
So looking at that, I don't mind with the red roof either. To be honest with you, I'm really open to spec on that. Just so long as it's got paddles rather than the push buttons on the Gen 1 wheel, then I'm totally open. Yeah,
that sport design wheel on 991, I think it's got to be the only option, isn't it? The other
so.
multi-function thing just dates it horrendously, I think.
Yeah, I think modern cabs as well, they're not as compromised chassis wise as kind of they used to be compared to the coupe, especially for road driving. And I think there's something to be said for smashing the roof down and hearing that flat six.
Yeah, good shout.
What about you, Joe?
He's just bought it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been, I think my recent acquisition of the 964 C2 was obviously, that's something I've been loosely looking for a little while with one eye open. I think I've mentioned a few times, I've been sort of looking for a 991 Targa, Gen 2 Targa, that was on the list, as was potentially a Carrera T. So those were the two of the more modern cars I was looking at. But yeah, on reflection, I think the 964 at the moment, I mean, I sort of feel like I could quite happily daily that, and for bumbling around town, it's a great car. So yeah, I'm not on the hunt for anything as such, but I think I'd still like to do the Targa thing at some point, get that in my system.
Yeah, interesting. Andy, I just want to go back to yours. That quite intrigues me really with your answer there, and how you kind of trade the 993 for a 964. Really surprises me.
I've always had a hanker for a 964, so it's always an itch.
Yeah.
And when I bought the 993, it was either 964 or 993. It depended what came along, really.
Yeah.
But there's that colour. I love that colour, and you can't get that in a 993. I think it was only the other car was a 928 that it came in, and it's just a particular. If somebody's got a Murano green 964 stuck in their garage,
let us know.
Let me know, because don't know. It's a weird colour. You might not even know what it looks like.
I just had a look, actually. I think it's really cool.
It flips in different colours, in different lights between green and blue. You could,
that is a flat,
one day you
flat
could say
colour, is it?
Yeah, I think no, it has got a slight metallic to it. It's a bit like Audi Nargo blue.
Yeah.
You think it's a flat colour, but it's actually got a slight fleck in it, if I remember rightly.
There's one there with yellow lights lit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. I like it. I like it. I can't recall the last time I've seen a 964 in that colour. It has to be said. That must be fairly rare. Yeah.
Yeah, but shout if you've got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do your swap. Right. I think we've done them with questions. Thank you very much to everybody for their questions. Amazing response. As we said, we've got a few that we can expand on into either being a whole episode, or I think we can revisit some of those later in the series.
Definitely, yeah, with some specialist input as well. There were a couple on there, weren't there, where we just decided as a trio that we'd just better to get somebody involved in who's got a kind of a little bit more knowledge on that specific area. So cracking questions, it has to be said.
Awesome. Cool. Right. What else do we want to cover? I've got something. I've still got a couple of calendars left. If anybody wants to purchase one, we're doing those for a tenner each, plus postage. UK postage, £2. International postage, £4. Or is it a bit more than that? Anyway, get in contact, and I'll sort you out if you want one.
So these are the fully sketched, aren't they, by Craig?
That's it. Yeah. Have a look on our Instagram feed for some pictures of the calendar that we did. We did them for our Patreons. Every Patreon got one for free. but we had to order so many in the batch. We got a few extra hanging around. So if anybody would like one, do shout.
Are we leaving the January page in?
Yes, yeah, the January page is still in.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely cracking. Are we going to mention sponsor?
So guys, just as a quick reminder that obviously this podcast was very kindly sponsored by 2911, theporschebuyer.com and Ashgood's classic and sports cars. I think we should just have a little touch on what they do and what they're all about, shouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite one of those questions sort of fed into that, didn't it? Should you buy from where should you buy your car from?
Yeah, in terms of reputable dealer, I think Ashgood's are building quite a good name for themselves. They obviously got a great stock holding with some amazing variety. So I think that's certainly a great place to start on your search, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on their stock list because they had a 997 Sport Classic in, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. No, they've had two in, haven't they? Or is it gone?
It's gone, yeah. So I've only seen one and it's gone. I think it went end of last week. So
I do actually, randomly on my travels, I do know of another one, Sport Classic. I think it's about 30 or 35,000 miles, and I think they want about 175k for it, which I think is fairly reasonable for a Sport Classic. So,
wow.
Yeah, if somebody was in the mix for one, drop us a message.
I've seen
we
that.
Probably put you in touch.
Could that be the same people that sold you your car?
Via them, they were part of the connection there. But there's, it's a private seller. But there is a bit of a deal to be done there. So it's an opportunity.
A usable Sport Classic,
indeed. Yeah,
one
definitely.
that you wouldn't mind putting a few miles on.
Mm. And obviously, we mentioned before, but obviously, if you're looking to move on your current Porsche, then obviously Carl at 2911, theporschebuyer.com is obviously the man to speak to. Yeah, he can get your car placed, picked up and paid for in super quick time. I know they've done even same day deals sometimes. So without putting him under any pressure, just tell him you want it picked up within the hour and he'll get you sorted.
Ideal.
Money in the bank.
Yeah, and unless, of course, you've got a green 964, in which case just go straight to Andy. Don't mess about. You've been listening to Road to Redline, the #1 Porsche and Car podcast fueled by our generous Patreons. If you'd like to join in supporting the podcast, please see patreon.com/Road to Redline and find us on Instagram.